I got YouTube figured out. Let's go. YouTube can hear me. YouTube can hear me. What is up, YouTube? All right. No, you guys can probably hear me now. I promise you. Like, I can see the bars moving. Anybody? Yay. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, YouTube can hear me, and so can space. All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm at Real Ape Nation, the founder of ONYXANALYTIcs, which is powered by the apes. I want to take a moment and thank all of you for coming in here and taking the time out of your day. I have some pretty awesome stuff to go through. So what we're going to do is, this is a 3-part mini-series, and we are going to walk you through, this is a story. We're going to tell a story today. And we're going to walk you through the real game that is being played. And a lot of people talk about how all the DD has been done. There's no more DD to do. Well, that's false, because this is bigger than a movie theater and a game store. This is everywhere. This is huge. And where we start our journey is in Georgetown, Cayman Islands, at the office building of Maples and Calder Law Firm. This is the registered address for 40,000 entities worldwide, not just United States. This is worldwide. This includes major investment funds, international joint ventures, and capital market issuers. One thing I want to touch on about this place is 2016 presidential candidate Hillary Clinton and former President Donald Trump both have entities registered here. And in President Barack Obama's first presidential campaign, he called this place the biggest tax scam in the world. Fast forward to 2013. Jack Lew was nominated for the Treasury Secretary. Jack Lew worked as an investment banker for Citigroup during the 2008 financial meltdown. Jack Lew was sworn in on the 28th of February 2013 as the 76th Secretary of the Treasury. Jack Lew, in his time as an investment banker with Citigroup, had extensive dealings in this place called the Ugland House. The Ugland House is the actual building. The law firm that is inside there, the Maples and Calder Law Firm, is an international tax lawyer group. They specialize in tax havens, corporate tax havens, and it is a member of the offshore magic circle. On retainer, so they have 17 offices. They have 330 lawyers that work through them. Not only are they in the Cayman Islands, but they're in the Virgin Islands, they're in Dublin, London, Dubai, Hong Kong, Singapore, and New Jersey. A couple of these places are home to exchanges. The exchanges that these are home to are connected to one of our first people of interest. This person is not a pawn in the game. This person is a big player. This person happens to be the chairman of the New York Stock Exchange. Mr. Spreaker is the original founder of ICE, the Intercontinental Exchange. His wife, former U.S. Senator, Republican out of Georgia, Kelly Loeffler. What does Kelly have to do with this? And why do I bring these two up right away? Because Kelly, before she was a senator, was a businesswoman. And she was responsible for founding several shell corporations at the Ugland House. Now, you could say that, Mr. Spreaker didn't have anything to do with his wife's business dealings. But we all know how that goes. Staying in the Cayman Islands. In 2008, the United States government did an investigation reviewing the documents and interviewed officials from the International Revenue Service, the SEC, the Department of the Treasury, the Department of the Justice, Overseas Private Investment Corporation, and the Export-Import Bank of the United States. They were diving in to this place. A lot of you should remember what happened in 2008. There was a financial crisis. It was caused by irresponsibility of those in charge of the exchanges, those in charge of the brokers themselves. They did not get held accountable while we suffered. They took pictures and drank champagne on top of high-rises while people down in the streets didn't know what to do because their retirement had just been burned up by the irresponsibility of these people. During that 2008 time, the congressional investigation found that 5% of the entities registered at the Ugland House were owned by U.S. people. That means that 95% of international business, or the other 95% was international business. And those international businesses have strongholds in Singapore, Hong Kong, London, Chicago, New York. These places are important. They're important pieces. They're tactical locations that allow the manipulation to happen. We're going to take a quick segue to the side here. We're going to talk about something before we leave Georgetown completely and move on to our next destination. The Intercontinental Exchange is a publicly traded company. This company owns the New York Stock Exchange. The New York Stock Exchange, before ICE went public, was privately owned by Mr. Jeffrey Sprecher. Jeffrey Sprecher, as it so happens, owning the company that bought the exchange, placed himself as the chairman. Why did he do this? Why is that important? Because Mr. Sprecher oversees everything at the New York Stock Exchange, which in the United States is the largest exchange. Mr. Sprecher also, while being the CEO and chairman of ICE, the New York Stock Exchange, owns several other exchanges, 12 of them regulated exchanges and marketplaces. They include future exchanges in the US, Canada, and Europe, including the London Futures Exchange. They also own 6 central clearinghouses strategically located where the major exchanges are. ICE's offices inhabit Atlanta, New York, London, Chicago, Houston, Winnipeg, Amsterdam, Calgary, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Tel Aviv, Singapore, and others. What is important about this? The clearinghouses are the middlemen. They're supposed to make sure that you buy the stock and the broker gives you the stock, and you give the broker the money. The clearinghouse gets the stock and the money and switches it for you. They're the middleman. How can they be the middleman when they're clearing their own exchange? Not only that, but by default, they're brokers. How can they broker, clear, and give you the stock that you need? We'll come back to that. Interesting history about Mr. Sprecher and his beloved Intercontinental Exchange. they rapidly expanded and acquired the New York Board of Trade in 2007. In 2007 as well, they made an unsuccessful bid to take the Chicago Board of Trade. They took the Winnipeg Commodities Exchange. So 2007 was a busy year for ICE. 2007, the year that followed, was the year of the crash, the housing bubble. ICE back at it again. 2008, they acquired Creditex. Creditex Group Incorporated was purchased for $625 million. TSX, the Natural Gas Exchange Partnership, 2008 as well. They acquired them in January. So both of these transactions were done before the bubble. Fast forward, we'll go back to the other things they acquired because they do end up acquiring the Chicago Exchange. There is a company called BAKT, B-A-K-K-T. In 2018, August, it was announced that the Intercontinental Exchange would form a new company, a private company, BAKT. BAKT would create software platforms for Microsoft, Starbucks, and the Boston Consultant Group. It was also one of the first places where Bitcoin was used as a conversion for fiat currencies. And who none other than BAKT CEO was Kelly Loeffler until she was appointed to the United States Senate. In 2018, BAKT completed its first round of fundraising, $182.5 million from investors, Boston Consulting Group, Horizons Ventures, ICE, and Microsoft. BAKT announced that the firm would launch its platform in July of 2018. In 2019, BAKT enters into an agreement with Rosenthal Collins Group. By entering into this agreement, they acquire certain assets of this group. The assets that they acquire is their technology. ICE, BAKT is owned by Spreaker. Spreaker owns BAKT. The Intercontinental Exchange created it. So what is happening right here? Jeff Spreaker is taking over the exchange market. Back when Enron had its falling out and its giant lawsuit and criminal proceedings, Spreaker, who started in power plants, tried to work with Enron originally. Enron rejected him. And then when Enron had all of its problems, Spreaker swooped in and took up their clientele. Spreaker, smart businessman from Wisconsin, has led a pretty off the beaten path life. It's hard to find information on him. It's hard to place him in the places that we need to. Jeff Spreaker is public enemy number one. Jeff Spreaker acquired Ellie Mae in 2020. If you don't see the trends in his track record on the businesses that he acquires, we have, let's see here, the Climate Exchange, the New York Stock Euronext, Super Derivatives Inc., Interactive Data Corporation, which at its time was a huge provider of financial market data, analytics, and related trading solutions from Silver Lake. Huge company. They acquired Tayport, S&P Security Evaluations, TMX, Atrium, Merrill Lynch, Bank of America. They acquired the technology sector from them. They bought Bank of America, Merrill Lynch's tech side. They bought Euroclear, Virtue Bond Point, the Chicago Stock Exchange, TMC Bonds, MERS Corp, Simplifile, and Ellie Mae, among many other things that ICE has consumed in being a strategic shareholder in. The amount of corruption that breeds inside of this, in the ability to own the exchange, clear the exchange, and broker the exchange. That's power beyond belief. If you look at his net worth, it's not very impressive. His net worth is like $800 million. Nothing crazy. He's not even one of the big dogs on the list. But who needs money when you control the markets? Who needs money when you control the banks? Who needs money when you control the international exchanges? Jeff Sprecher is arguably one of the most powerful people in the world. Now let's take a trip back to the Cayman Islands, where Mr. Sprecher has business dealings and entities registered. The Cayman Islands is a tax haven for corporations, big time. They don't follow the same rules. They have a bunch of different requirements that they don't have to meet. It's like the Wild West. This brings us to our next stop on our journey. We go to Wilmington, Delaware, to the Brandywine neighborhood. The Brandywine neighborhood is home to the CT Corporation, otherwise known as the Corporation Trust Center. Here, in this small office building, single story, 285,000 separate American and foreign businesses operate out of here, are registered out of there. They don't have an office there, simply registered there. Delaware has a general corporation law. It's very friendly to finances. That's why a lot of your banks are a Delaware corporation. It's known as the Delaware loophole. It allows businesses to operate in other sector or other physical locations and be registered in Delaware to receive the tax breaks. Companies that are located here, none other than Google, American Airlines, Apple, General Motors, Walmart, Yum Brands, Verizon, the Coca-Cola Company, 430 of Deutsche banks, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump also have registered companies here as well. In 2012, there was a attention brought to Congress. There was taxes that hadn't been levied over the past decade in the ballpark of $9.5 billion through this Delaware loophole. Companies that are skating around using us as products. Anytime something is free, I want you guys to remember this. Anytime something is free, you are the product. They are using you. They are selling you. So companies like Google, Apple, Verizon, Walmart, Deutsche Bank, even the airlines, they use you as their product. Another interesting fact about this loophole is our current commander-in-chief. Our current commander-in-chief is from this state. He has been well aware of the Delaware loophole. He has fought to protect the Delaware loophole, given it brings his beloved state big money, allows the state to thrive. I don't know if anybody knows, but Delaware is not a large state. Let's see here. Land size, not even 2,000 square miles. So a state like Delaware has a GDP of, where did I put that? I'm sorry, I've got like 20 different sheets that I'm reading off of. I can also use this opportunity to give a huge shout out to the Onyx research team for putting all this together. You guys are awesome, and gals are awesome. This could not be happening without you. And we'll post a little thing at the end with, those that want to be named and give them the credit that they deserve, because this is hard work and they've done a lot of deep diving. All right, well, I guess that's really just a side note that's not nearly important, so we'll just keep trucking along. So just give me 1 second. So Delaware is where these financial institutions hide. This is where they hide. They're not. Delaware is also, think about it like this. Delaware is a de facto, it's a onshore corporate haven. Over 50% of all the New York Stock Exchange listed businesses and 60% of the Fortune 500 companies are all registered in Delaware. It's this stuff that the apes need to know. If we're going to affect change, and we're really going to wake up and change the market to bring back, so that way we have a fighting chance. We want to free the market. We're not going to go break down doors and burn buildings or any of that. Because education is the most powerful tool that we have. Knowing what is happening. Because we've been lied to and blinded for too long. Yes, hit me. Sorry. Well, I think you would have No, so the market's really never been fair, and the reason for that is back when they had the market transactions were done on paper, right? There was an actual stock boy that ran the paper, and then they would send it out in the mail, right? You couldn't, stock prices moved too fast, and you weren't able to. It was just, and there was a lot of error. There was room for way too much error. It was held on a ledger, handwritten ledger system. So much room for error. Fast forward, introduce technology into it. The technology was great because it made trading easier. Where it made trading easier, also made room for greed. In my original teaser video, I talked about greed. I talked about the puppet masters cutting the strings and throwing the puppets away. I posted a couple of pictures One was of J.P. Morgan. The other one was John McAfee. How do they relate to this? J.P. Morgan was one of the original funders of Nikola Tesla. And J.P. Morgan was a pretty cutthroat businessman. Let me pull this bar up real quick. J.P. Morgan didn't just partner with Tesla. He convinced Tesla to sign, because Tesla was not a businessman and he didn't really care about money. But he convinced Tesla in a partnership to sign over 51% of the interest on his patents and inventions, including future ones. And he gave Tesla $150,000. Back in 1901, that's pretty crazy. That's a lot of money. J.P. Morgan then pulled the rug out from Nikola Tesla. Tesla was left with one true friend, and that friend was Westinghouse. Westinghouse really was the one who was an actual friend, and Tesla saved his butt. They signed a royalty agreement with one another, and Tesla got him way into the weeds. But J.P. Morgan was one of the very first cutthroat bankers. We're talking in the era of Rockefeller. I mean, if you weren't cutthroat, you weren't going anywhere. The corruption has always been around. There's no doubt about that. The corruption goes back as far as humankind. Greed has been around as long as humans have been walking the earth. And the reason for that greed is people, or humans by nature, want more. Do they need those things? No, but do they want them? Yes. We're all guilty of it in some way. We've all walked down the street and saw something in the window that we really, really wanted, didn't need, but we really wanted. Or you're driving down the road, you see that car that goes past you, whatever it may be. You want it, but you don't need it. We all have those moments, but the difference is the puppet masters, the ones that are pulling the strings. They're the ones that are truly the greedy ones. Now, I'll never knock a man or woman for creating immense wealth for themselves. But it comes a point when you have to steal it from others or screw over the 99% to get there. That's where I have a problem with it. And that's where this movement has a problem with it. I can say that with certainty. That's why we're all here. We're sick of being lied to. We're sick of being screwed over. We're sick of being told one thing, and then the next thing, they take us for everything we have. Now, for granted, these people just tend to be smarter or see something that they can get a hold of and move through. These people expose openings. They take opportunities and they seize it, good or bad. These are the things that people need to know. I'm going to introduce you to the rest of the cast, the rest of the people. The people that truly are connected to the wrongdoings. Give me one sec. Switch the list. Did that answer your question, Turbo? Sorry. All right, cool. Thank you. I hate all these tabs. I'm gonna sing to you guys for a quick second because I hate awkward silence. Okay. All right. Here comes the list. And I'm going to post this list in Discord. It's already in there, but we're going to repost it to the open source. introducing our POIs and BOIs, our persons of interest and our businesses of interest. ICE Clear Credit, Bocht, Apex Clearing, Ellie Mae, MERS Corp, Bank of America, Richard Burr, Jim Inhofe, Dianne Feinstein, Paul Pelosi, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, the royal family of the UK, the DTCC, and the DTC. These people, or businesses, or entities, have all been connected through a spider web. They all interact. Now, one thing I want to focus on. There was two things on that list. Two big power players. Spreaker may be public enemy number one, but he's not the king. And you're thinking to yourselves, well, if he's not the king, how is he number one? To get to the king, you must go through the queen. BlackRock. They're the kings of the chessboard. Why? They're the largest entity. They have so much power over the market that they could bring it down with the push of a button. Now, for granted, Mr. Spreaker holds a lot of power too. He owns the exchanges. But BlackRock owns them. BlackRock has them because that's where all the money is. There's a theory, and I emphasize this is a theory. I want everybody to do their own DD. Obviously, none of this is written in stone. It's taken a lot of work. There's a lot of hard hours behind it. Everything has been sourced. Do your own DD. If you find something that you can make a correction on, please do. But BlackRock, if you take and you go to, we'll say NASDAQ, you go to Insta, you pick a company that's not AMC or GME. Just pick a random company. Type in, I don't know. Somebody on this panel throw me a ticker. Wow. Company where they aren't a majority shareholder of. God, I would be pissed. What do you know? But that's okay. That's okay. Their evil twin brother, Vanguard, is the second highest holder. These two run in tandem almost everywhere with each other. We have sorted through thousands of pages linking these two together. The interesting fact is Vanguard is private. It's owned by its shareholders. It's people that are in the fund, but it is not openly traded. BlackRock is publicly traded. What I have seen going on for the last 12 months isn't a battle of two stocks, AMC and GME fighting it out to be which one's going to Moaz, which group of apes is going to be right. Or you have the other side, a meme stock is trying to, smart money is trying, or dumb money's trying to beat smart money. What's going on in front of our faces is magnitudes of movements are happening. You have BlackRock and Vanguard swallowing shares up of companies. For example, let's look at Apple. You go to Apple, the first $1 trillion company. Oh, who do you know sits on top there? Vanguard, BlackRock together. State Street Corp. They're the third one in line. The theory that I have, and I want to make it clear that it is a theory, but it has been proven more and more every day goes by. it gets more solidified. We are not watching a MOAS. We are watching two titans of the industry fighting for first. What happens when these MOASs happen? Whether they happen on AMC or GME or both of them together at the same time. These two companies own massive positions in them. And they are positioning themselves strategically in other plays that play off us. For example, BlackRock. They have a total of 5,311 positions. As of June 30th, they have only sold out of 74 positions. They are in every industry. They are in every company. They are in Apple. They are in Microsoft. They are in Amazon, Google, Facebook, NVIDIA, Tesla, Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan, Berkshire, United Healthcare, Visa, MasterCard, Home Frickin' Depot. They are all over the place, down to their smallest holdings in companies that people have never heard of. They are positioning themselves for a massive duel with Vanguard. Now, everybody wants to talk and hate on Citadel. That's fine. Everybody wants to hate on Citadel. Citadel is a pawn. It's the first pawn that we're going to introduce into this game. Citadel is a pawn. And here's how I know. Citadel, in itself, is a market leader in quant trading. It's fantastic. Everybody wants to talk about their $100 million algorithm and all the brain power and think tank that comes out of there. But what nobody's talking about is how they aren't even on the map when it comes to State Street, BlackRock, Vanguard. They are so small that those three could crush them. This is where my theory gets fun. Everybody wants to talk about these shorted shares, these synthetic shares, and who's creating them, and we all keep pointing the finger at Citadel's doing it, or Mudrick, or whoever, Melvin Capital. What I see happening when I've been watching these holdings is I see two very powerful companies not only manipulating the retail investor, but also the other hedge funds. Think for a second. Okay, let's walk through this. BlackRock. Yeah, we want to make some liquidity. Call up Citadel or insert fund name. Kenny G's like, hey, what's up? And they're like, hey, we got some liquidity. We need to unload for a couple of weeks. Can we send it over to you? We'll sell it to you for 10% cheaper. Oh, cool! I get a shares at 10% cheaper. This is awesome. Boom. BlackRock sends over the shares. BlackRock doesn't do a locate. Sends the shares over. Citadel's like, hunky dory. I got my shares. Got a deal on them. Fast forward a couple of weeks. BlackRock's like, hey, Kenny, we'll buy those shares back from you. We'll even pay you 10% more. Ken G's like, I'm making 20% on just holding on to some stuff. Citadel, or insert hedge fund, calls for a locate. Boom, sends the shares back over. Not through the dark pool. BlackRock's like, hey, thanks for the shares. What they just effectively did was launder their synthetic shares. Now, many reasons why they would do this. One of the big reasons is they get to keep their books clean. Because I promise you, MOAS happens, stock market crashes. Congress is going to do some investigating. They're going to be looking for somebody to pay the price. Because they know the American people after 2008 is, we ain't having it. First ones that they're going to go to, obviously, are going to be the two big ones. They're going to go knocking on BlackRock and Vanguard's door, like, open up. If the SEC, whoever else wants to come with, the IRS, ATF, show up. Hey, our books are squeaky clean. We got nothing to hide. Cool. Thanks, guys. Boom. Swing on over to Chicago, knock on the door of Kenny G's giant building, and they're like, hey, we want to see your books. Kenny G's like, shit, my books are clean. Boom. Oh, where are all these? Why do you have missing shares? It's not crazy to think that the two most powerful funds in the world are using these small funds. And that's what Ken Griffin is. That's what Citadel is. They're small. They're pawns. They don't care if they get... Nobody gives a shit if they just get smacked around or wiped off the earth. Nobody cares. I mean, Kenny G cares. Citadel. I am so sick of hearing the name Citadel. We need to hear the name BlackRock, Vanguard. Why are these companies, why are these two duking it out for number one? I mean, everybody knows why they're duking it out for number one. Who doesn't want to be the best, the biggest? BlackRock's held that title for a while. Vanguard's like, give me a title. Think about it like this. Vanguard's private, owned by its holders, owned by its shareholder, its internal fund holders. What if Vanguard became the largest in the world? That whole board of executives that gets paid based on performance, yeah, I'm sure that their salaries will be compensated heavily. When you start to look into BlackRock and Vanguard, strange things start lining up with the two. They are dancing with each other. They trade in sequence with each other. They're mirroring each other. There is something. BlackRock makes a move, Vanguard's right behind them. Vanguard makes a move, BlackRock's right behind them. They are setting up for the final showdown. And it's going to be bad. One of the two of them is going to win. But here we are caught in the crossfire of 2008 all over again. How do we stop it? How do we move forward? How do we ensure that us, the 99%, have a chance? I'm not talking about, let's tax the piss out of the rich people and make them pay all sorts of crazy taxes that they're never going to pay. Whatever. I just want a chance. And that's what I hear in this community, is everybody wants a chance. Now, it's 9:52. At 10 o'clock, this will be over. I'm sorry if I jumped around a little crazy. I'm kind of nervous. It's the first time doing something like this. It's kind of exciting, too. Thank you. But so what I'm going to do is I want to welcome you all to the Great Awakening. And the last 8 minutes, I'm just going to sit up here. I want to listen to the panel. Anybody wants to come up and speak, I'm going to get down as a speaker. I'm going to get down. I want to listen to, well, actually I don't have to because I'm a co-host, but yep. So, okay, yep. Okay, yeah, I can do a good 60-second on this one. So, fun fact, Vanguard is the largest provider of mutual funds in the world. They are the second largest provider of ETFs. Number one is BlackRock. So, Vanguard is a broker, asset manager, mutual fund. So yes, your 401k can be through them. It's like they're like a Fidelity. except they're a privately held company. So, and yes, you see them everywhere, and there's a reason why you see them everywhere. It's because they're ginormous. They're huge. They have assets under management, $7.1 trillion. They have $7.1 trillion under management. That's insane. BlackRock sitting at 10. So it's not, Vanguard not far behind them. They're also like, they're actually they're labeled as a investment advisor. So I don't know. Does that answer that question without going like super crazy? Correct. Anybody else? Got 5 minutes. I'm actually going to end the YouTube stream real quick. So if anybody wants to ask away, give me some feedback, I'm going to just mute and the YouTube live feed real quick. All right, YouTube. I appreciate you all listening. Thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you for everybody who listened.